seat. Yeah, I know this is different. Quit with the questions. Allow me a second, please, to make my first impression.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another 978 custom video. And today I want to talk to you guys about Kintaro. Yes, he's finally here. This thing has been pushed back so many times, and I'm so excited to get it. I ordered this on eBay. No comic shops have this on their sites yet. Big Bad Toy Store, Fig Ops Toys, Dorkside, none of them have them up yet. I did pay a little more than I wanted to. I paid a little more than I wanted to, let's just say that. But it was worth it for me. This is kind of like Goro. First time I saw Goro getting released, I was super excited. And I have him here also. Goro was like a highlight because I had to go to Comic-Con to actually get Goro. I'm next. What's up, brother? Can I get a Goro Rain Smoke?
3 is going to be $223.90.
Thank you, boss. Goro. But now that you have Goro and Kintaro both together, I want to compare them and see the similarities and differences between the two. But they both look great, honestly. And I'm super excited to have this and show you guys the Kintaro figure. Love the artwork on the box. The open window lets you see the figure inside, and when you take it out, you get these trays. Behind Kintaro are some accessories for Sub-Zero that we'll go through later, but just looking at it out of the box, I'm blown away, man. It has great sculpt. The paintwork is cool. The accessories are super cool. You get some interchangeable hands, 2 heads. The paintwork on the face is nice. The eyes look clean. Everything is nice on this. You can see the veins and the muscles. He's thicker than Goro. I know people had issue with the feet, but they're cool to me. The arms for Sub-Zero, and you get some hands that they didn't tell us about. The split head and some blood effects. Bro, this is amazing. It seems like Storm Collectibles just outdoes itself with every Mortal Kombat release, and I'm not mad about that at all. I would love more things like blood effects. If they just had like an accessory pack that sold all the blood effects that came with the previous ninjas and other figures, bro, I'd buy that in an instant. Because those are the things that I missed about having some of the ninjas, some of the blood effects. Out of the box, it looks menacing. He's super tall. He's beefy. Again, I love the paintwork, the way the shading goes from the orange to the tan. The spikes on the shoulder pads are nice and shiny. Same with the wrist gauntlets. The strap around the chest looks pretty cool. One thing I noticed though is the yin yang sign on his belt is reversed from Goro's, and I'll show you that later on, but I don't know why I happened to notice that. Man, this figure looks cool, man. He kind of reminds me of a Thundercat in a certain way. I don't know, it looks like Lionel. I think it's just face paint. Goro and Kintaro look great together. One thing I will say though, I do love Goro's colors a little more. They just look more flesh tonish. I mean, I know Kintaro's supposed to be orange, but I don't know, I thought in the game they were similar colors. Same thing with Motaro. He's a little more orange than I like him to be. But you can see the belts, the yin yang symbols are reversed, and the bodies are totally different. Goro's a little slimmer in the waist. The legs are also slimmer. His arms are also, everything is slimmer about Goro. He's a little shorter, but the hair makes him seem taller than what he really is. But it's like that, again, that Married with Children song. You can't have one without the other, because both of these things are fantastic and probably some of Storm Collectibles' best figures, best Mortal Kombat figures anyway. And I look forward to Shiva now because of these two guys, and I can't wait for a Mortal Kombat 3 Shang Tsung and a Cabal. Who do you think would win, Prince Goro or Kintaro in a fight? I know in the Mortal Kombat lore, Kintaro actually beat a centaur, which is a Motaro, or one of his species, in order to defend Shao Kahn and be on his side. But who do you think would win between these two guys? I personally think it would be Kintaro, because he's a more menacing, aggressive figure. But then again, Goro is the original, so I don't know. Let me know in the comments, who do you think would win in a fight between these two? Goro has some sweet articulation. If you guys are familiar with Storm Collectibles, then you know these things move amazingly. But one of his issues were that his arms don't raise up too high. They have more of a T-pose. And at first you think that's pretty decent. You don't really need much more from Goro. He's not going to be punching high, he's punching low. But you can see that his elbows probably meet at a 90-degree angle. They don't go any more than that. And you know, I think for Storm Collectibles they could do better. And they did. With Kintaro, he gets a better double jointed elbow. It's still almost at a 90-degree angle, but you can see it's tilted more than what Goro is. And that's a slight improvement, so I got to give him that. And the same thing with the shoulders. You can raise them to an almost wide pose. And not just the top arms, the bottom arms also raise equally high. Not equally, but high enough, like Goro. There's not much you need to do with the lower arms. But the neck is on a double ball peg, so you do get that neck rotation that you're going to expect from a Storm Collectibles. You get a cool diaphragm joint that works really well. It's cut right at the pecs, so it looks almost seamless, but it's hard to move it with the straps around the chest. But you do get the articulation you're going to expect once again from Storm Collectibles. You can bend down, you can pull up a little bit. You also get the torso articulation, the butterfly joints. I mean, what more could you ask from? You get toe articulation, and they even improved on the ankle articulation in comparison to Goro, because that was Goro's problem. He had terrible ankles. But this guy actually can stand on his own if you balance him properly, without him falling over too. But as great as this guy is, let's not forget, Motaro is just as great. And Motaro is so underrated. This guy is for sale everywhere. Anybody can buy him. I have a couple of these. I wish I have a couple of Kintaros, but I have a couple of Motaros, and I still love this figure, man. It's one of the coolest Storm Collectible figures they ever made. It's different. It has a horse back almost. And the color's a little orange for my liking, but I like it, man. It's cool to see the differences in the three figures. Motaro has less sculpt. You can see he's a little softer in the muscle area. He doesn't have as much muscle as Kintaro or Goro. And I think maybe he could have benefited having a little more muscle, seeing that he's a centaur and horses pack a lot of muscle. But all three look great if you want to put them on a shelf. The three sub-bosses from the Mortal Kombat trilogy. And what would make this better than having these three guys? You weak, pathetic fool. Shao Kahn, the boss of all bosses. My favorite boss of Mortal Kombat. I don't care what boss came after or before. He is the Mortal Kombat boss to me. I don't care about Quan Chi. I don't care about the old Shang Tsung. I don't care about Kodo Khan. I care about Shao Kahn and the three sub-bosses from the Mortal Kombat trilogy. That's it. I don't need anyone else. All I need is Shiva, it's Shang Tsung, Cabal. Give me Liu Kang that's coming out this year with the dragon. Who else? Maybe Katana, Melina, Jade. Those would be good figures eventually. Sonya Blade. Before those, I'd like to see a Jax. Jax would look cool. Can imagine what they do with that. There's so many figures they still could do, even though they do have a lot of the roster out for sale already. So I'm happy to have this figure, honestly. And again, I paid a little more than I should have. Not should have, but more than I wanted to say the least. I paid $190 for it. It's retailing for $125. So you do the math. But for me to have it early, I think it's worth it. It wasn't for the review, it was just more or less to have it with the rest of the figures, because now I feel a little complete having the three sub-bosses together. When Goro came out, he was $90, and I think that was 2018. And Kintaro was $125, so you see it's a $35 difference. But if you remember the video from Comic-Con, buying Goro, Smoke, and Rain was $223, $200 and something in comparison to the $190 for just Kintaro. So inflation is real. But it's to be expected for quality. I don't mind paying the extra buck if you're giving me the extra quality and accessories. And let's get into the accessories. Minus the closed fist, you get 8 extra hands, 4 that are open really wide and 4 that are closed kind of, along with 3 heads. My favorite is the Screaming Head. You also get the fireball that he throws and a stand to hold the fireball up. The Sub-Zero pieces are amazing. They didn't even have to put this in the pack, but it's awesome to have. You get the iced out Sub-Zero arms, the split head, the extra hands, and the blood effects for the spine and the arms. One issue is you have to have this Sub-Zero figure. They still may be available in some stores, some online stores. Some places they're sold out. This is a really good figure too. One of my favorite characters in the video game, as a matter of fact. And this is great. It sucks that you have to have this in order to use those accessory parts, but if you already had it, then it's just a plus. You know this figure already came with a ton of accessories, so to have extra for him is pretty phenomenal. There's a lot of stuff here with Sub-Zero. Sub-Zero, part of the Lin Kuei. This is actually Sub-Zero's brother, who is looking for whoever killed his brother, I believe. I'm not really sure. Let me not say that. But this is the brother of Sub-Zero. And in Trilogy, I believe you get to play with both Sub-Zeros. And that's the original one in the back, caught up in the ice of his accessory, which is another cool thing that comes with this figure. So this figure is great, man. To have these extra iced out arms is great. Storm Collectibles released an original Sub-Zero with iced out arms as an exclusive. So to just give us the extra arms for this guy is pretty generous of them to do. The color match is pretty spot on, so you don't have to worry about the shade being slightly different, knowing this Sub-Zero is a bit orange. And as far as the other arms, you could take the accessories, the blood effects, and just pop them on to the ball peg at the end of the shoulder, and it should fit perfectly, and that just gives it the illusion that his arm just popped off the socket, blood is ripping. The same thing with this, except you put it on the other end and it looks even cooler. And if you want, you could also take the split head and try to balance it as best as you can on the blood splat, and you can kind of make it look like his head's being split in half. Another cool thing that you could do, and this is just me thinking about it, is if you have the Kung Lao figure, it would look cool to have his head split in half from Kung Lao's hat. Sub-Zero's head and Sub-Zero's split head look pretty identical. It's pretty cool to see, honestly. It's gruesome, and that's what I love about these figures too. They really go the extra mile to gross you out. But it's done really well. It's painted really nice. It's washed. What more could you want? Looks amazing when you put them together with Sub-Zero or any figure and you split his body apart. You don't need to split the face per se. You can just split the arms in any way you want. But it looks cool with Sub-Zero, you gotta admit. And I know this is kind of common because everybody's gonna be doing this with their Kintaro figure. I mean, it was advertised this way, so I don't see why not. I think it looks great. I'm super happy to have this Kintaro early. Even if I were to get it late, I'd still be grateful to get it. This is one of the top figures of the year in my book. With all the improvements they made in comparison to Goro and the accessories they gave us and the chunkiness of the figure itself, I think it's worth the retail value. You don't have to pay the eBay aftermarket price, and honestly, I don't recommend that. But for me, I needed to do it. I have no regrets. It beats having to spend money for a Comic-Con ticket, waiting in line for 2 hours, and doing it that way. So I recommend this figure. This is a great figure. Shout out to Storm Collectibles for making this, because this is something that I wanted the minute they made Goro. I was like, what if they made Motaro? What if they made Kintaro? What if they made, you know, so on and so forth? And look, they gave us the bosses with no problems, Shao Kahn included. And again, this figure's great. Guys, let me know what you think about this in the comment section. Are you excited to pick it up? I know it's been pushed back for so long. Rumor has it it's supposed to be releasing in July, but then I heard it was September. So I don't know. Let's hold on and wait, because I do want to get another one and keep it minty in the box. But again, let me know what you think.
Sing, 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 sing. Everybody start to sing. La-dee-ah, whoa, and now you're singing with the swing.
But if you choose to subscribe, you the man. Yes, you. Everyone below in the comments, yes, you too. Thank you very much for showing me love. Who knew? It's ironic how we think out the box for you too, right?
Sing, 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 sing. Everybody.